Society keeps telling women over 60 they're invisible, but the truth is, they chose to disappear from your feed on purpose. And it's not because they don't know how to use a smartphone. It's not because nobody taught them how to post. It's not because they're scared of technology or stuck in the past. They've simply figured out something that the rest of us are desperate to learn but can't seem to find. But what drives senior women to completely avoid social media when everyone around them is posting, sharing, and scrolling nonstop? Is it the confidence that only comes with age? Is it exhaustion from spending decades performing for everyone else? Or is it the most powerful decision they've ever made? Today, we're digging into the real reasons senior women don't post on social media. So get comfortable, because what you're about to hear might totally change how you see the older women in your life. Let's jump in. What are the truths about senior women who stay off social media? Let's find out. Number one, they're finished playing the game. Unlike younger women who are still building their identity through likes and comments, senior women who stay off social media already spent 50, 60, 70 years playing that game. And they're done, completely done. They've lived their entire lives being judged on how they look, how well they smile, how pretty they are, how thin, how young, how perfect they can make everything seem. They grew up with magazines screaming at them that they weren't good enough. Commercials telling them to buy this cream, try that diet, hide those wrinkles. Their own mothers worried out loud about their weight. Their aunts made comments about their clothes. Boys in school ranked them. Men at work decided if they were pretty enough to take seriously. They raised children while strangers felt free to comment on their bodies. They went to jobs we saw. People cared more about their appearance than their brains. They showed up to every family dinner, knowing someone would say something about their hair, their weight, how they've aged. Every birthday after 30 came with jokes about getting old. Every mirror became a reminder that society had an expiration date stamped on their worth. And now we expect them to post selfies for strangers on the internet, put filters on their faces to look younger, write captions begging for validation, count hearts and thumbs ups like they're running for prom queen at 70. They're not doing it. They're completely out. When they spend Saturday afternoon with their grandkids, they're fully there. They're not thinking about camera angles, not stressing about lighting, not wondering what caption would get attention, not checking if the photo makes them look old. When they celebrate their anniversary at a nice restaurant, they taste the food. They look into their husband's eyes. They hold hands across the table. They laugh at inside jokes nobody else would understand. They don't need digital proof that they lived that moment. They have the actual memory, the real feeling, the warmth of connection that doesn't disappear when you close an app. They've figured out something powerful. The best parts of life get cheaper when you perform them for an audience. Real joy doesn't need witnesses. Love doesn't require likes. Happiness doesn't come with a comment section. Their lives aren't stored in cloud albums with perfect filters. They're stored in their hearts, in late-night conversations, in the smell of their husband's cologne, in the sound of their daughter's laugh, in the feeling of their grandson's hand in theirs. They lived it for real, not for show. Number two, they're protecting something they fought hard to build. Senior women who don't post on social media didn't just wake up one day and decide to skip Facebook. They made a choice, a deliberate, powerful choice to protect something precious, their peace of mind. And after spending decades fighting for that peace, they're not about to throw it away for notifications. Think about what these women lived through. They raised families when being a perfect mother meant destroying yourself. They worked jobs while being paid less than men doing the same work. They kept marriages together when divorce meant being shamed by everyone they knew. They took care of aging parents while raising young kids. They smiled through pain nobody bothered to ask about. They carried stress that would have broken most people. And somewhere along the way, after all that struggle, all that sacrifice, all those years of putting everyone else first, they finally found some peace. Maybe it came when the kids moved out. Maybe it showed up after retirement. Maybe it arrived the day they stopped caring what other people thought. But however it came, they found it, and they know exactly how rare and valuable it is. So when they look at social media, they don't see connection. They see chaos. They see drama. They see people tearing each other apart over politics with strangers they'll never meet. They see families fighting in comment sections about things that don't matter. They see friends comparing their real lives to everyone else's highlight reel and feeling miserable. They see people trading their mental health for likes. And they remember how hard they worked to escape that kind of noise. How many years it took to stop worrying about what everyone thinks. How much energy they spent learning to be okay with themselves. How long it took to build a life that actually feels good instead of just looking good. They're not giving that up, not for anything. No political arguments with people they don't know and will never meet. No keeping up with what everyone from high school is doing. No scrolling through problems happening across the world that they can't fix. No watching everyone's perfect vacation photos and feeling bad about their own life. No late night anxiety from reading comments. No morning stress from checking notifications. They chose peace, real peace, the kind you can't fake with a sunset photo and an inspirational quote. Number 3, they know the difference between being alone and being lonely. Here's something senior women understand that makes younger people uncomfortable. You don't need hundreds of online friends to avoid being lonely. Actually, having hundreds of online friends might be exactly what's making you feel alone. These women lived in a time before you could text someone instead of visiting, before you could like a photo instead of calling, before you could send a heart emoji instead of saying, I love you out loud. They built friendships the old way, face to face, voice to voice, hand in hand, and those friendships went deep, really deep. They had best friends they talked to every single day, not through messages, on the phone, for hours, about everything and nothing. They had neighbors they actually knew, who borrowed sugar and returned it with cookies, who watched each other's kids, who showed up when something went wrong. They had sisters and cousins they saw in person, who sat at kitchen tables drinking coffee and telling the truth about their lives. Those relationships were messy, complicated, sometimes painful, but real. And now they're supposed to believe that clicking like on someone's beach photo counts as friendship? That commenting happy birthday on a wall post means something? That having 500 connections on social media is better than having 5 people who'd actually show up if you needed help? They're not buying it. They'd rather have coffee with one real friend than chat with 20 people online. They'd rather call their daughter and actually hear her voice than read her status update. They'd rather know 3 neighbors really well than have 300 followers who don't know them at all. They're okay spending evenings quiet, ding books, watching shows they actually enjoy, doing hobbies nobody needs to see, sitting with their own thoughts. They're not afraid of silence. They're not scared of missing out. They don't need constant noise to feel alive. They figured out that you can be surrounded by people online and feel completely alone. And you can be by yourself and feel totally at peace. It's not about how many people, it's about whether you actually like the person you are when nobody's watching. Number 4, they've earned the right to stop explaining themselves. Senior women spent decades justifying every choice they made, why they worked, why they didn't work, why they had kids, why they didn't have more kids, why they got married, why they got divorced, why they dressed that way, why they cut their hair, why they gained weight, why they looked tired, why they seemed happy when everyone expected them to struggle. Every decision came with an audience of judges, mothers-in-law with opinions, neighbors with gossip, co-workers with questions, friends with advice nobody asked for, society with rules that changed depending on who was talking. And social media is all of that times 1,000. Every post is an invitation for people to weigh in on your life. Every photo gets picked apart. Every opinion gets challenged. Every choice gets questioned. You can't just live. You have to defend your living to people who don't even know you. Senior women are done with that. Completely done. They don't owe anyone an explanation for how they spend their time. They don't need to justify their choices to strangers. They don't have to prove they're still relevant, still active, still worth paying attention to. They don't need to perform happiness to convince people they're doing okay. If they want to spend Sunday in their pajamas reading a book, they do it. They don't post about self-care to justify it. If they want to skip a family event because they're tired, they skip it. They don't need to explain their absence online. If they're struggling with something, they talk to people they trust. They don't share their pain with the internet hoping for sympathy. They're living for themselves now. Finally, after decades of living for everyone else, after years of twisting themselves into shapes to make other people comfortable, after a lifetime of playing roles they never auditioned for, this is their time, their life, their choices. And the beautiful thing, they don't need your approval anymore. They don't need anyone's. Number 5, they see through the performance. Senior women have been watching social media from the outside, and they've noticed something most users are too close to see. It's all a show. A carefully directed, heavily edited, completely exhausting show. And they already starred in that production for most of their lives. They're not auditioning for a sequel. They see young women posting perfect morning routines while hiding the mess behind the camera. They see mothers sharing beautiful family moments while cropping out the fights that happened 5 minutes before. They see friends posting couple photos with hearts and emojis while privately crying about their marriages. They see people bragging about success while drowning in debt nobody mentions. They recognize the performance because they lived it. They spent decades pretending everything was fine when it wasn't, smiling at parties while falling apart inside, making their marriages look perfect when they felt lonely, acting like motherhood was pure joy when some days it felt like drowning, keeping up appearances because that's what women were supposed to. And it nearly broke them. The pretending, the performing, the gap between what their life looked like and what it actually felt like, the exhaustion of maintaining an image nobody could live up to, not even them. So when they see that same performance happening online, in real time, constantly, they feel something close to sadness because they know what it costs. They know how heavy that mask gets. They know what happens when you spend so much energy looking happy that you forget how to actually be happy. They want to tell younger women the truth, that nobody's life looks like their Instagram, that the perfect mom struggling to make it all work is just better at hiding her struggles than you are, that everyone's marriage has hard days, that success is messier than it appears, that you're comparing your real life to everyone else's editing job. But they also know you can't tell someone that truth. They have to live long enough to see it themselves. So instead, they opt out. They refuse to participate. They won't add their own highlight reel to the collection. They won't pretend their life is perfect. They won't perform for strangers. They're just going to live messy, real, imperfect, private. Number 6, they're investing in what actually lasts. Here's what senior women know that younger people are still figuring out. Time is the one thing you can't get back, and they're not spending it on things that disappear. They've watched people pour hours into building online followings that vanish when the platform changes. They've seen viral moments that everyone forgot about by next week. They've witnessed arguments that felt important in the moment but meant nothing a month later. They've watched trends come and go so fast nobody can keep up. And they've learned to ask a different question, not what's popular right now, but what actually matters in the long run. So instead of scrolling, they're calling their kids, having real conversations, learning what's actually happening in their lives, not just what makes it to their status updates. Instead of posting, they're writing letters, real letters, on paper, that their grandkids might keep forever. Instead of chasing followers, they're showing up for people, bringing meals when someone's sick, sitting with friends who are grieving, being present for moments that don't need an audience. They're gardening, cooking family recipes, learning new skills just because they're interesting, not because they're shareable, reading books that make them think, taking walks because it feels good, not because they need steps for an app, volunteering for causes they care about without posting about it. They're building things that last, relationships that go deeper than comments, memories that live in hearts, not clouds, legacies that their grandchildren will feel, not just see in Hotos. They know something powerful. The things that matter most can't be liked or shared. Love, character, integrity, kindness, wisdom, these things grow slowly, quietly, in moments nobody else sees. And when they're gone, what will people remember? Not their follower count, not their posts. They'll remember how they made people feel, the time they gave, the love they showed, the example they set. Senior women who stay off social media are building that kind of legacy, the kind that actually lasts. Number 7, they're teaching the most important lesson without saying a word. Here's the deepest truth about senior women who don't post on social media. They're not just living differently, they're showing everyone watching them what's possible, what real life looks like when you stop performing it. And their grandchildren are paying attention. Every family gathering where grandma puts her phone away and actually listens. Every conversation where she's completely present, looking you in the eyes, hearing what you're really saying. Every moment she chooses real connection over digital distraction. It's all teaching. Her granddaughters might not understand it yet. They're growing up in a world that tells them their worth comes from likes and followers, that if you're not posting, you're not living. That being seen online is the same as mattering in real life. They're measuring themselves against impossible standards, feeling anxious about comments, losing sleep over what people think, building their identity on a foundation that could disappear tomorrow, but they're watching grandma and noticing something different. She seems happier, calmer, more comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't check her phone every 5 minutes. She doesn't care what strangers think. She doesn't need anyone's approval to feel okay about herself. She just is, fully herself, unapologetically. And somewhere in the back of their minds, a question is forming, a question they might not ask out loud for years, but it's there. What does she know that I don't? The answer is this: your life belongs to you, not to the internet, not to the algorithm, not to people who don't actually. You don't have to document everything to prove it was real. You don't have to perform happiness you don't have to be seen by thousands of people to matter. You can live quietly, love deeply, build a life that feels good from the inside, not just one that looks good from the outside. You can choose peace over popularity, privacy over performance, real relationships over digital ones. Senior women who stay off social media are proving this is possible. They're living proof that you can have a full, rich, meaningful life without broadcasting it. That self-worth doesn't come from external validation, that you can be happy without anyone else knowing about it. They're teaching by example, not with posts or lectures or advice nobody asked for, just by living their lives in a way that makes younger women wonder, makes them question, makes them think maybe, just maybe, there's another way. And that teaching, that example, it's worth more than 1 million followers could ever be. Now, before we finish up, let's be really clear about something. This isn't saying that senior women who do use social media are wrong or doing it badly. Plenty of older women have found beautiful ways to use technology. They stay connected with family across the country. They share their wisdom with people who need it. They build communities that support each other. That's wonderful, really wonderful. This is just about understanding the women who chose differently. And honestly, both choices can be right. The real question isn't whether you're online or offline. It's whether you're choosing this on purpose or just following what everyone else does. Are you doing what actually makes your life better or what the algorithm wants you to do? Senior women who don't post on social media have something valuable to teach all of us. That sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in a world obsessed with being seen is to simply live well without needing anyone to watch, to love people without performing it, to build a legacy that exists beyond screens and apps and platforms that might not be here in 10 years. So what do you think? What other truths have you noticed about senior women who stay off social media? Have you seen this in the older women around you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this made you think differently about anything, hit that thumbs up. It really helps. And if you want more videos like this that make you question what everyone just accepts as normal, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.